many of the problems of the psyche nowadays come from addiction to peaks of dopamine and
Sí, claro.
cortisol, adrenaline.
They said that 60% of your immune system is in your aura.
Doomsday keeps happening to every individual. When it's your final day, that's it. That's your doomsday.
Mm.
Right. Very true.
For me, it has been appreciating the little things that I already possess and have, the real friends, the real love that surrounds me,
Mhm.
all the blessings that comes with that, the teachings that I can see from everything, even from my dogs. I'm always learning because the spirit is always showing me, look at this, look at that, and I feel like a little kid learning. It's, those impressions are food for my soul.
It's an art of energy management. The second death is the death of the astral body. I'm not worried about any kind of death because my true being does not go anywhere.
When I had my awakening, it was like, boom, you need to do this in community.
Mhm.
This is not gonna about saving yourself. You have to build a community. And what
Yes.
is the trust in God?
That's true life and true love. All that other stuff is manufactured.
Gurdjieff mentions that in Mars there was a civilization that destroyed the planet because they extracted electromagnetic energy from the atmosphere.
Would that be the Edomites? The Edomites.
Yes, the Edomites. Now, these civilizations, including ours, extract the negative part, especially, and part of the positive. And that's where you get electromagnetic energy, which is not the way nature works, because nature works using the three forces, not just the two. In Santiago de Compostela, we have an energetic center. So it's been a place of pilgrimage for centuries. But the name Santiago de Compostela is a code, not because of Santiago, because Santiago is just a Latin term in reference to Jacob or James, as you would say in English.
Mm-hmm.
But Compostela means the field of stars.
Mm.
And it reminds me of compost of stella, of stars. So the compost of the
Yeah,
souls have been traveling and being recycled
yeah,
in a return.
yeah. It's crazy you said that because I seen a video today that it was a neuron unwiring. Like they said that when you give up something, like you say you give up eating chocolate, and so your brain unwires from that. And the way that looked, it made me think that the Milky Way looks like a vein. It looks like a vein of stars. Like
Mhm.
the energy travels through there, and it's like from the wire, the wiring, that how they say the neurons fire together, wire together.
Yes.
Yeah. So it was just like that's the connection. There's a connection there through the stars. Like the stars just carry energy, and
Mhm.
and it just made me think of like it looked like the Milky Way. I guess it was shaped that way a little bit, and it was just
Mhm.
yeah. For some reason, I was like, wow, is that like a vein? The stars are like a vein. All them that group of stars is like a vein for the energy to like go through, pass
Mhm.
through.
¿Lo entendéis? Dice que las estrellas parecen venas.
Mhm.
La Vía Láctea parece como
Mm.
un tejido de venas
Like a vein.
donde corren las energías del universo. The Milky Way, la Vía Láctea,
Sí.
is the path of souls in ancient
Mm,
times. Din
yeah,
Ur in Hebrew
absolutely.
is the light of judgment, because that's where many souls run, where the dog ran, according to Cherokee and other natives, and they came to solar systems to learn a lesson. They were exiled, according to traditions, fueron exiliadas las almas, and the suns are the connecting posts, so to say. This is like a big circuit of energy,
Yeah.
and the suns are the posts, los postes de conexión, son los soles. And today we are having a massive outburst of the sun. So we are receiving an extra energy, and we have to learn to use this solar wind for our divine purpose on Earth, which is something not very usual. La gente no utiliza el viento solar para la evolución. They get scared, se asustan. They think there's going to be a global blackout or a catastrophe, which there can be. I think it's very important to get out of all the catastrophic or pessimistic views, because what we intend to live, we manifest. You can desire something, picture something that you want, but if subconsciously you intend that you are going to have problems, or that you can't, that you are going to be living a catastrophe, that you are blocking your desire, so to say. So it's a contradiction between the vigilia state and the unconscious. The unconscious manifests. It's like the hidden part of the iceberg. Okay, the tip is what we usually think as conscious, and all the rest is the unconscious and the subconscious, which is what manifests what we live. Yeah, Gemma says it's one of the most beautiful images. The iceberg, el iceberg.
No, la Vía Láctea, ¿no? Que había puesto Marilú, que esas venas que estáis hablando, pues eran una serie de átomos y células, pero nos convertimos en neuronas. Y no, recordaba eso, ¿no? La imagen y...
Yeah, Marilou says that the veins
Exacto.
are the atoms and cells, but we become neurons. Our being is a neuron. That was the idea of Mr. Gurdjieff, which is very Hebrew, by the way, because Mashiach means yesh moach, the brain of existence. So it's basically the same. El Mashiach es el cerebro de la existencia, así que no es una idea solo de Gurdjieff. And in ancient times, they spoke of the logos, the universal mind. So right now we are receiving an extra energy because of the solar peak in July 2025. Supposedly, we are going to have the maximum. And it's unlikely that we experience a global blackout, because there are emergency systems. There can be a Carrington effect, obviously, but I don't think the sun is just a ball of gas, because it's hotter on the surface and the inside is cold. So it's more a dimensional intelligent portal inhabited by intelligences. And I think those intelligences think what they are doing. So it's not just something mechanical that explodes because there is a different temperature. I think there are phases, there are ages, and right now we are living a sort of extra time bonus, because 2000 years ago, humanity was doomed. And someone came and said, well, let's go into stop. I'm going to bring a new humanity. And if in this period, this humanity does not develop solar consciousness, well, as always, Atlantis went away. Many other civilizations went away because of the pole reversal. But our civilization keeps going because of this extra time. Nuestra civilización sigue existiendo porque la venida del maestro frenó la catástrofe. O sea, tenemos que desarrollar la nueva humanidad.
Sí. Totalmente de acuerdo. I agree.
Right now, they are speaking about global warming. They say humans are very bad because they are causing global warming, but true scientists know that global warming depends mainly on the sun. The question is if we use that solar energy intelligently or like idiots. Some people think that just by making solar panels, you're going to be cleaner. That's not the case because those panels work with lithium batteries, and those are highly toxic for the environment. And they also expropriate the lands of people that own huge extensions. And they say, you can do two things, either rent this for the government, so we install solar panels, or you move away without receiving any money. They're doing this in Spain. It's amazing.
Yeah, that happens everywhere, I believe.
Están expropiando tierras para poner placas solares.
Does the influx of the solar energy help balance the lunar energy?
I think so. Dice que sí, la energía solar ayuda a contrarrestar la energía lunar, a balancearla.
Posible, ¿no? O posiblemente.
I think lunar energy is more magnetic. It pulls us down into the biology, into the carnal psychic senses, whereas the sun contains particles of pure consciousness and conscience. It's the logos of this solar system. And being a portal, the sun is the exchange place. You cannot get out of the solar system without going through the sun. But you need an solar astral body in order to endure that vibration, and a Merkaba in order to transcend. And Marilu says it's a plan of extermination, global extermination. She says men expropriated the land of animals, and now we are being expropriated in a sense. That's a very good point. Karma. You get what you give.
Reap what you sow.
Exactly.
But you think there's always time to change the road you're on.
Yes. We are given a chance to change. And I think all of those who change will live a timeline adapted to that change. Right now, I want to move into Galicia, and I have in mind a project, but not just for myself, but for people to come and share what they want to share. So I need a place. I need it, not just a little house where I can live and eat and enjoy and do Zoom meetings. That's very narrow. I want more exchange, active exchange in a live environment with nature, with animals. I would like to build ecodomes.
Yes.
Ecodomes. You can make them with any material, but wooden would be ideal. I would need some hands, or some companies build them for you with an extra money.
That's for sure.
Yes.
Anything for the extra money.
Yes. But they are beautiful. It's like a half sphere, and they are very spacious. You have a lot of space. Another option would be the yurtas, the Mongol yurtas.
Oh, yes.
But those are more
Right.
tricky to build. They are heavier. The ecodomes are more popular, I think.
I think to concentrate concentrate the energy is possible.
Perfect.
This?
It's
Yes.
perfect. It's
Very nice.
Yeah, I
Yes.
think that's why they build everything square, because square is more like a container and you're just like bouncing off the walls and bouncing here and there, whereas a dome, it's more, I guess that's why they call it the firmament too, huh? Where dome is more like a collective, you know, because we're under the firmament, and the firmament is a dome, you know, in my understanding.
Yeah, the rakia, as it's called in Hebrew. There are many passages in the scripture where they mention either the sea of glass or we are looking through a glass, as Apostle Paul says. But it will come the time when we will know as we were known, when we are on the other side of the glass, as the book of the Apocalypse says. Yeah, it's amazing that description the prophets make of the rakia, the firmament. They say it's like a sapphire pavement. We live in a sort of terrarium, you know, los terrarios, donde metes ahí animales.
Sí.
So we are like animals in a terrarium. Who are the keepers? Maybe it's not an exact analogy, but there are some archons and principalities, as they are called, some princes that run the show on a planetary basis. And they know that there is a planet in quarantine. That's what the Earth is. It's a quarantined planet, even if it's not a plane, because planet, well, it comes from the Greek planetes, which means wandering.
Yeah.
In principle, everything moves.
To me, it's like planet, like extraterrestrial plane ET, plane it.
Very good. Yes, the plane of ETs. Yes, it's like a ballroom to enjoy the game, the full deception game. And some of us came to bring the light into this madhouse. Gilberto is joining. He lives in the UK. Hello, Gilberto.
Hola, ¿cómo están? Hello, everyone.
Hola, Gilberto.
Hola a todos. Gusto verlos.
Igualmente.
Hi, Frankie.
What's up, brother man?
Very good, thank you. Very blessed. How are you? Nice to have you here in this platform today. It's great.
Thank you for having me. I truly appreciate it.
Yeah. So how's everything in sunny America at the moment? It's spring, right?
Yeah, spring right now. Everything is coming back to life again. And Brother Fernando was just explaining that we're receiving a new influx of energy from a solar flare, and how we could use it to bring brighter days.
Definitely, I'm been definitely feeling it. This energy, which has helped me a lot. It's been like a massive help for me. Coming from a place of uncertainty and a lot of doubt, and with spring and all this new energy that now you guys discussing, it's been a massive help for me, and I'm being able to get on and actually do things, go to action. That's what's happening to me right now.
Nice, very good to hear, brother.
Yeah, how's everyone? ¿Cómo están todos?
Very well.
Muy bien.
We are feeling this upsurge of energy. Estamos sintiendo un incremento y surgimiento de energía. It's because of the sun.
Yeah, we'll see. Go ahead, brother.
Sorry, they're gonna start trialing a different chemical on the atmosphere now. They're gonna start spreading some weird stuff.
Yes, the chemtrails have been going on for long. in vain, because it's stupid to try stopping the sun that way. I don't think that's the reason. That's what they think or what they say. But I think they are poisoning the population on purpose, or the fields. They are
Well,
scattering poison.
you see, over here, there's a lot of people suffering from allergies.
Mhm.
A lot. I suffer from really bad allergies, but I only get it here in this country, and it's no the pollen because if I go Colombia, I'm on the fields and surrounded by all type of different species of flowers and grass, and I don't get that. But on here, I in London, I get it really bad. So I don't know, but a lot of people are blaming the chemical trials.
Mm. Here in Spain, there are fields owned by people that work on the land that from time to time get a substance, the substance that causes morgueñons. You know that, Gemma? Morgueñons? They have been found in Cataluña.
¿Qué es esto? Perdona.
Es una enfermedad que se coge y la atribuyen a las sustancias que caen de los chemtrails. Mira.
Morgueñons.
Es una enfermedad.
No había oído hablar de ella.
Morgueñons is a condition in which the person suffers with the sensation that is infected with some agents, such as insects, parasites, hairs, fibers, and sometimes they have some fibers coming from blisters. They have llagas, tienen llagas de las que salen pelos.
Ah,
And those morgueñons are associated in many cases with a liquid that is found in the fields. And chemtrails are constantly falling. So maybe it's something caused on purpose, just as an experiment, because these psychopaths have been doing that for long.
Yeah, I just watched this one video right before I came on, and the person was explaining that our aura, our what would that be considered? Our electromagnetic body, our aura that comes out. She said that they learned how to plant like magnets, like nano magnets on your aura, and they could connect you to the grid and control you through your aura like that. I was like, this is totally crazy right now.
Yes.
That's really. I never heard that one before, but it makes sense,
It makes sense, and
It makes sense because it will create like an electromagnetic type of field that they can manipulate. That's quite scary, actually.
Yeah, and
You think also they try to block the emanations that come from the sun to try to block our connection with the real spirit world? You reckon?
Sí, dice que a lo mejor los chemtrails son para bloquear nuestro aura con magnetización, ¿no?
It's possible. I know that one of the results, the use of these planes, no, are the more temperature concentrate the temperature of the Earth. It's possible because the result is like
efecto invernadero, ¿no?
Exacto.
The greenhouse effect.
Yes.
Yeah, that's very interesting. He's saying that maybe the chemicals on these chemtrails, as well as the radiations, are contributing to global warming, greenhouse effect. So it's like the serpent eating its own tail.
Yeah, because here everything takes energy to make energy. You got to take energy to make energy. We got to we got to eat food to have energy to keep the physical body going. You know, so it's just like, yeah, it's this that constant vampire state, you know, kind of. They just, yeah, like for some reason they chose to disconnect from an endless, everlasting energy and create their own little, try to copycat it in some sort of way, you know, try to make their own little
junkyard.
Yeah, that where they could just, you know, they could be the princes, they could be the principalities and the rulers and the, you know, just because they didn't understand, or I don't know, it's
Yeah, they thought they were self-sufficient. That's the idea of self-sufficiency, you know. Thinking that you are isolated, that you can build your own house, as Solomon says in Proverbs 9, that wisdom built her own house. The house is universal. You cannot build your own house.
Yeah, it's funny because before my awakening, I was so into my ego, into my thinking mind, thinking that I had a land and I was making everything for sustainability. And I thought if you know if it's doomsday, I will go to that farm and I will have everything, water, everything. But when I had my awakening, it was like boom, you need to do this in community. This is not gonna about saving yourself. You have to build a community.
Yes.
And where is the trust in God? You know, where is the trust in the Father? You know.
And even in that situation, you wouldn't survive alone because you would have 1,000 people trying to kill you to get your
Exactly.
land.
Yeah. It's either as a community that some part of the world will decide to live a different way and build a new type of humanity. I don't know, a new way of living. And yeah, nobody's gonna stand on their own. That's the ego trying to think. Some people spend millions. I know in America this is big. They spend millions in bunkers with everything inside for doomsday. And you know, doomsday keeps happening to every individual. When it's your final day, that's it. That's your doomsday.
right. Very true.
It's not worth surviving in a bunker. For what?
Yeah.
Yeah. And unless you are like one of those people who just love like artificialness, artificial intelligence, and you want to plug into that, and that's going to be your reality. If you could, you know, how many people live an artificial life outside of the bunker now with just all this stuff that's going on where, you know, people are just attached to their phones and attached to their computers. And you know, before that, it was attached to the television or my favorite TV program or whatever it may be. And you live vicariously through that. You know, you're living through that. You're not really living or existing. You're existing. You know, you're not truly living. You know, you could either exist or you could be connected into true essence and have true life. You know, because I think that's two totally different things.
Yeah, it's scary because they try to program the masses with TV programs that it shows exactly what you're describing. That there was like a nuclear disaster, and people go and live in different bunkers, and they got numbers, and the only way they can survive outside is through, you know, connecting to hybrid devices. It's quite scary.
It's not worth living that kind of existence.
Es un programa de televisión donde ilustran casi todo lo que estábamos discutiendo de que la gente vive en un búnker y sobreviven solo conectados a máquinas afuera. And in everywhere in the world, a lot of part of the world, there's a lot of floodings happening. Like in Colombia, right now, there's a lot of cities that are suffering floodings and landslides. There's a lot of landslides happening. Hay mucha lluvia en Colombia ahora y mucho derrumbe. Demasiado.
Yes, there is an adverse climatic change. Here in Spain, we are having heavy rains. We are having extreme hot on summer. But then on winter and even spring, huge rains. So some places in Spain are dangerous to live. Valencia, for instance.
Still raining there?
Yes, they get, every summer they get the la gota fría, they call it the cold drop, which is, it's a long-term phenomenon, but it's getting stronger and stronger. So the dams get full. It's not the rain, the problem. The problem is when they open the dam in order to release the water. That's what caused the catastrophe. There and here in this village. But here they did not say we opened the door of the dam. They said no, everyone at home. They released a message through the mobile phone. This was in 2024, on September. And well, I thought it was just a test of some kind. But then it started raining, and all of a sudden, people lost their house down the river because the houses were by the riverbed. And it was because they opened a dam. Abrieron una presa, dam, presa.
I think the same architects, the same engineers that try to control the solar flares and everything, controlling the weather.
Well,
and
yes,
I think they try to create. I think they like the taste of fear for some reason, and I think anything they could do to cause fear and doubt, and that's like their favorite meal. You know what I mean? They could live off of something else, but I think the fear, for some reason, like really resonates with them. You know, and they kind of enjoy the they have an appetite for it.
Yes. The problem is that here there is a combination of factors because the people that are on governments, when you see them speak and when you see them say the things they say, you cannot help but thinking this is mentally retarded. This is just a chunk of meat with some electromagnetic impulses, but obviously they are working for some other entities or intelligence that are hidden. Call them Satan or aliens or whatever you want. But they have been known since antiquity. We don't fall. We don't stand against flesh and blood, but against the principalities, the dominations, the rulers of the cosmos, of this dark cosmos, and the evil spirits in the heavens. So there are different.
This is the third time I heard that biblical phrase this week. You know, the third time I was discussing it with a friend early this week.
Yes,
the same one. Because there is another TV program that came out. It's called the Eternaut. The Eternaut.
Eternauta, sí.
Eternaut, yeah, and it's all about that they drop in the chemicals that we're talking and people are dying.
Oh,
I don't know. They try to program the mass. It's all about programming the collective. Tratan de programarla colectivamente.
You know that novel was written by an Argentinian writer.
Yeah,
the Eternaut, el Eternauta.
El Eternauta. It tiene que ver algo con el éter. It has
Sí.
something to do with ether, right? With the ether.
Yeah.
They're trying to control the ether or something like that.
Yes, they are trying to block the ether. And that writer became very famous in Argentina.
Yeah.
It's very popular.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing with that grid. They, instead of us living off the ether and the natural energy that's already there, they built their own grid the 5G grid, and they're going to connect everybody to that, even though it's an artificial grid. But even if you send a kite up into the air like 40 feet or 50 feet, that there's energy there. There's endless supply of energy in the ether.
So we discussed sometimes back that the ether is the Shekinah, right?
Yes.
The ether is the Shekinah. So how do we help the Shekinah to go back to source? By transforming it within us so it can ascend?
By transforming energies, so especially dark energies. Actually, this rendition, I haven't seen this movie.
It's a TV program.
It's a TV program. Well, I think it represents what we are living now, because we are receiving many different kind of toxic energies, not just from the environment, but from the psychic level, emotional energies, mental energies, and they are like bugs, like viruses. So we have to transform that, because it's not ours. And we can block a lot of pollution just by becoming aware, because our protective shield expands. We have an aura and a bioenergetic field. So
that's what she said.
Exactly.
That's the term she used. An energetic field. Yep. Of the aura.
I haven't read that novel, but I knew its existence just a few days ago. So it's interesting that you mention it, because it's not a coincidence.
And then they said that 60% of your immune system is in your aura.
That's a big part of it, like.
Yeah, because you protect it before it even gets to you, so it's like it's a shield around you, so it don't all that negative energy. That's why they say, don't concentrate on negative energy, because you're actually giving it your energy, and then you're going to give it more energy to the negative side, so to say. Because your energy flows where your attention goes, or your attention goes where your energy flows. So if you give something your attention, you're giving it your energy.
And some want our attention in order to feed on ourselves, on our energy. Marilu says also that the souls that were exiled from Mars, they came from other systems, came on Earth, and here they began to destroy. So now they want to exploit the planet as they exploit other planets. But we won't allow, because the messianic consciousness is growing. That's what she's saying.
Thank goodness.
Mr. Gurdjieff spoke about a civilization that...
Would that be the Edomites? The Edomites.
Yes, the Edomites. Gurdjieff mentions that in Mars there was a civilization that destroyed the planet because they extracted electromagnetic energy from the atmosphere.
Wow.
There is an energy, Gurdjieff calls it the omnipresent Okidanok, which is the active element that crystallizes from ether. From ether, you get a primal energy, which has three forces: active, passive or negative, and receptive. Now, these civilizations, including ours, extract the negative part especially, and part of the positive. And that's where you get electromagnetic energy, which is not the way nature works, because nature works using the three forces, not just the two. And this is what many scientists either don't understand or don't want to understand, because the business would end. They can only charge if they have systems of measurement run by electromagnetic means or nuclear fission, and even electric solar panels, the aeolic system with the windmills, which are awful. They destroy the environment as well. They're very primitive, those systems. Nikola Tesla proved we can have clean energy with good capacitors and good transmitters.
Yeah.
Earth
I mean,
energy.
that's what Tesla was working on. I think that's why they kidnapped him and held him captive for most of his life. He was trying to, use the ether to give energy out, and he's like, oh no, no.
The ether, which is in science, it's called a scalar energy, which is different from electromagnetic energy. A scalar energy, by the way, was discovered by James Clerk Maxwell, the founder of thermodynamics in the 19th century. So it's not something theoretical. No.
Right.
They exist. And those scalar energies are dimensional. They don't travel through a space-time, but through the 4D continuum. We are an organism able to use those energies. So that we are not run by chemicals and electromagnetism. Our true awareness and true conscience is beyond electromagnetic energy. I would say it's bioluminous energy, which is the same energy used by the sun and the plants, the animals. Maybe that's the fuel. And some in the universe think they have the right to do commerce with that fuel, the fuel of life. But their empire is doomed to destruction. People are awakening. So at
That's
least
what they fear the most.
Yes, they fear that the most.
I think once you escape from the fear of death. I mean, I don't want to die, but once that doesn't program you anymore. You don't fear that. You see that as a transition, and we know that we need to make the best that we can here to bring the real light of the Father here, to bring the kingdom here. And once we know we're doing that work, then I don't fear that death as I fear before. I try my best to make sure what happens on the second death. That's the one that really worries me. La segunda muerte es la que se me
Yes,
preocupa ahora.
the second death is the death of the astral body. I'm not worried about any kind of death because my true being does not go anywhere. It never came to be because it always was. In a sense, it's made of ether, and ether is immortal, eternal. So, and it's not just the fear of death, but the fear of not having or being unable to enjoy certain pleasure that will have been sold. I live with very little. I don't eat meat. I don't eat fish. I don't drink milk. I don't like. Many of the things people use completely unnecessary for me. And I don't need them. I don't feel the need.
For me, it has been appreciating the little things that I already possess and have, which is the real friends, the real love that surrounds me, all the blessings that comes with that, the teachings that I can see from everything, even from my dogs, even from my little nieces. I'm always learning because the spirit is always showing me, look at this, look at that, and I feel like a little kid learning. It's, all of this. And for me, those impressions are food for my soul, and it fulfills me. And before, I was more worried about going to the clubs and everything. Now, I go and see the sunset, and I feel that love from the whole universe, and that's what I want. Nothing more, you know.
Amazing, because that's true life and true love. All that other stuff is manufactured, you know, and packaged to look like something real and something fun and something true.
They are the true impressions of life that feed our soul.
The instant dopamine, you know, and now I can see my friends that are still addicted to that, and they having a lot of problems, anxiety,
Yes.
you know.
Many of the problems of the psyche nowadays come from addiction to peaks of dopamine and
Sí,
cortisol, adrenaline.
la dopamina instantánea de placer inmediato.
Instant dope.
Yeah.
It's a bombardment of impressions, ¿no? El bombardeo de impresiones
Sí.
nos enferma, gets us sick.
If we don't organize it, right? If we don't start classifying things, no, si no empezamos a clasificar las impresiones como esto no, esto sí, esto lo no. We need to start like classifying and discarding some of those impressions that we take.
It's an art of energy management, just as you manage the car. You have to know what kind of oil and gasoline you put into the car in order to have a long-term well functioning of the machine. So with the soul, it's even more attention to detail, but it's so filled with poison.